Guy Benson joins me now. Guy, what's your reaction? I would not argue that Joe Biden has been dragged to the left because that's where the progressive, loud voices are. Would you agree?
Yeah, he's been governing, for the most part, almost in fear of the hard left in his party. He'll occasionally buck them, sometimes when he's left with no choice, it seems. I'm intrigued by Manchin saying what he said, because you might say that he's positioning himself ahead of 2024. He certainly is. The question is, in what sense? Is he trying to get reelected in West Virginia? Because polling shows, especially if he's up against Jim Justice, the governor there, he's down big. He might not want to go out on a loss in this career that he's had. So there are rumors that he might eschew a reelection campaign in West Virginia and instead seek the presidency in some sort of moderate, down-the-middle, third-way kind of candidacy. And if that's something that he's thinking about, just listen to the words that he just said. The far left isn't where the country is. The far right isn't where the country is. Let's bring people together. That would kind of be a campaign slogan for Joe Manchin if he wants to run as a third-party candidate for president.
Yeah, it's very interesting, isn't it? All right, I want to get onto this issue, Guy. Former FBI Director James Comey says prosecutors facing an intense amount of pressure to come up with a charging decision for former President Trump. He says many want a decision before he could possibly become, the 2024 GOP nominee. I mean, Guy, if that were the case, what impact would it have?
Well, it's hard to say because there are a number of different charges out there, or potential charges out there, certainly investigations against the former president. We see charges here in New York City, which a lot of us see as purely political. There's a case in Georgia. There's a civil case here in New York. There's a separate civil case in New York. There's the federal case that I think Comey's referring to there. We saw certainly with Alvin Bragg's decision, the politicized decision in New York City, that galvanized support for President Trump. I think a lot of people on the right said they're coming after him again. This is unfair. This is all politics. There are different rules for different people. And so you saw a big boost, at least in Republican polling, for Donald Trump after that. Whether we would see that same rally around Trump effect in the case of hypothetical future charges from various jurisdictions, I don't know. That's entirely possible. Yeah. But Comey's saying, look, the pressure's on to get it done before 2024 because they don't want to be seen as interfering in an election. I think a lot of Americans would say they've sort of done that quite a bit recently.
Yeah, they have. But with regard to Donald Trump, as you say, has all these legal issues hanging over his head. It doesn't seem to hurt his base because it plays into the narrative that he's just being picked on. But can someone like, Ron DeSantis use that to his advantage?
If there is an underlying concern, if people are perhaps trepidatious about Trump's ability to win a general, I think DeSantis feeding into those concerns and others might be helpful, but not necessarily if he comes across in a very overt way, siding with some of the prosecutions against Trump. It's sort of a delicate balance where there is, I think, this sense like, OK, can Trump really win with all the baggage? But if you say that very explicitly in such a way that it seems like you are rooting for the other side against Trump, that's where you run into trouble with a lot of, let's say, soft Trump voters and members of the Republican base.
Very difficult tightrope to walk, and it's going to be fascinating to follow. Guy Benson, great stuff, sir. Thank you as always.